Here we go. Count me off.
Oh, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, crispy.
This is what we do when we talk about movies. We drink energy drinks because we're not drinking alcohol.
That'd be interesting if we just did that, because I don't really drink. I'd probably be all I'll be up a Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew all damn day.
Ooh, okay.
This week we are talking about.
You picked it, so you.
I did. And it's one thing. I remember I hit you in the dead of night, and I was like, "Hey, why don't we do Creator?" And then last week we talked about. He was like, "Hey, well, you picked it." I was like, "Yeah, I was wanting to do the Creator." It's a. Well, you kind of tell us what. Okay. What is the Creator?
I will give the quick synopsis over here. The Creator is a 2023 American science fiction film conceived, directed, and produced by Gareth Edwards. That is the same man who also did 2014's Godzilla and also Star Wars Rogue One.
Okay.
Which was, in my point of view, the better of the more recent Star Wars movies besides the Solo movie. He co-wrote the screenplay with Chris Weltz. It stars John David Washington, Gemma Chen, Ken Watanabe, Sturgill Simpson, and Allison Janney. It's set in 2070, 15 years after artificial intelligence set off a nuclear detonation in LA, which started a war of humans against AI. A former special forces agent is recruited to hunt down and kill, in quotations, the Creator, who has developed a mysterious weapon with the power to end the war.
The war.
Let's see. It came out September 29th, 2023. The budget, now this is what's amazing about this film. The budget was $80 million. Its box office was $104.3 million.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the quick little wiki synopsis.
The wiki synopsis.
You picked it. So
I
you
did.
started off. Your initial thoughts. So.
Man, I was kind of hoping for better. I'm going to just start it out just rough as I can be.
All right.
I remember watching the trailers and I was like, I want to watch this movie. And then, we was like, oh, we're going to be doing reviews on movies. And I was like, this is in the top probably of my watch list. So we made it happen. And man, it's not horrible, but it's just, there's a lot of things and it's weird. I fell asleep. And I did this before and you said it in the last episode was talking about it.
You fell asleep to Sicario?
No. Blade Runner 20. What was it? 20.
You fell asleep to Prey?
No, never Prey.
You fell asleep to Bloodsport? Your favorite movie in the world?
No, I have fell asleep to that one watching it though.
Well, it is a terribly awesome movie.
But Blade Runner.
It's a 3 a.m. movie. Yeah, you fell asleep to Blade Runner? Well,
the new one.
Really?
Yeah. The original I loved. I remember watching, and I've tried to watch it twice. And each time I fell asleep. And
what is it about that one, which is also probably why is it about this one?
I think it's just the sci-fi element. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. I love sci-fi films, which is crazy. Maybe it's, I don't know.
You might like campy on the surface sci-fi films.
Maybe.
Because this is a
orchestrated,
thought-provoking film, I would say. Yes. Continue, my bad.
No, I'm just saying. I guess I had a lot more hopes for it. And this is one of the times like a trailer will hook an audience. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, man. And I love the beginning, like where it shows, like this antique footage. And then it shows this growing where they was, doing the surgeries and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. All up to the explosion in L.A. That's just kind of my 2 cents on the overview of it. How did you feel about it from just from the grand perspective?
I have seen it twice now. First time in theaters, and I was very much online with what you were saying. This time, I liked it a little bit more.
So you're saying I need to give it one more try?
Maybe, but it's also the thing about movies is it's also your mindset when you go into them.
Yeah.
Also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I totally understand your point of view where the trailer probably made it seem like an action shoot 'em up kind of sci-fi film.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of like the remake of Total Recall.
Did they remake it?
Yeah.
When did they do that?
2012.
What?
Yeah, they remade that.
I didn't know that.
Anyways, back to my point though is so you went into it thinking this was going to be like a shoot 'em up, and it is. It has its moments, but it's really not. It's really it does what sci-fi does best, which is it starts a conversation about humanity and how we are as a society, and puts it in a sci-fi trope. Because guess what? It's sci-fi. It's fake. It's not real.
Yeah,
that's what this movie does. And when I saw it the first time, I was just like, this is boring. I might have also fallen asleep to it. And when it was done, I was just like, wow, well, I wasted some money. I thought I was going to see like an epic sci-fi war film. I really didn't. Now, on the second viewing, I went into it with a different mindset because I've already seen it. So I already know what to expect at this point. So I'm watching it and I'm realizing this isn't a traditional movie. Now, it is a traditional movie, but the way Garrett Edwards shoots all his stuff very documentary-like. And so as I'm watching this, I'm realizing this isn't a grandiose story. This is actually a self-contained story in a grandiose world. And that's kind of the beauty and genius of it, is because he's using all his money to shoot practically on locations, to do everything he possibly can in camera, and then enhance the film post-wise with CGI imagery instead of the other way around, which is just go to a volume and just shoot stuff and then do all the post stuff afterward. Like we need to be in a rice paddy field. Oh, well, that's okay. We'll just go to some studio in LA and we'll just make something kind of look like that. No, what's cool is they actually shot on location. So they shot on location in the Philippines, in Vietnam, maybe a little bit in Japan too.
It seems like it.
Yeah, like they shot
Thailand at least.
Yeah, or Thailand. They shot what they could on location. And then, obviously all the like facilities, they probably did that on a set in LA or at Pinewood in England or the studios that are down in Sydney in Australia. It's something like that.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really cool about watching it on the second point of view is like I'm actually seeing a morality play out now. And I'm also seeing, to go back to like what we were talking about with Sicario last week is I'm also seeing the morality of things. Because watching this film, in the beginning, the robots set off the bomb, right? So it's a war, it's humans versus robots, very clean cut.
Yeah.
And they're trying to find this creator because he created a new weapon that will help turn the tide of the war on the robot side. But as you watch this film, you realize just how screwed up that is, and everything is not all black and white. It's actually it's shades of gray, because
they live in the gray.
You find out the reason that bomb went off was a coding thing.
Human error.
It was a human error that caused that bomb, and they just decided to blame the AIs. And the ironic thing about it is when you're on the facility near the end of the film, you actually see a section called AI research. And what that actually is just the robotic bodies without any AI. They're storing them so they can reuse them as just mindless automatons.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's commentary on us as a society nowadays.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting and thought-provoking, and it just asks a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt on that. And did this get a director's cut?
I believe not.
Okay, because I kept thinking maybe there's some gaps that I saw through watching this film, and I was like,
well, you did fall asleep.
I did fall. And I actually not just fall asleep. When I started falling asleep, I stopped it, and I started it another night.
Oh,
so I was like, I'm not going to even try to fall asleep all the way.
Yeah.
And then the second night, I was like dozing. I was like, this movie is putting me to sleep. But yeah, man, I kept thinking, I was like, there's got to be a director's cut from the stuff that I did see, because it's just some things. It's like there was some plots I think missing. You know,
Probably, yeah.
And it could be that was a writing error, even. And it just feels, this film for me feels like Hollywood saying, we've got money, let's go create something, because AI is a good topic to talk about right now. Let's create something, because I think this was also created around the time of the WGA strike with AI.
No, that was 2024.
Was it 2024?
Yeah,
it was 2024. Wow.
That literally just happened.
I'm a year off all that stuff. Yeah. I just know it just felt to me, it's like, let's put something together and let's attack AI and let's put them in a humanistic form. And I guess that's just my take on it. The movie was.
I understand that. I guess my take on it is, well, it's a hard sell.
Yeah,
and what I mean by that is, you write this script. This is what you want to shoot, and you have to go to investors to want to make this movie, and it's entirely original. It's not based on any IP whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that's even more of a hard sell.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do another Star Wars movie, I mean, it's a popular IP.
You got a fan base.
So like, even if it's terrible, you're still going to have people go see it.
Yeah.
To see, hey, are they actually like making good ones now? Or are they still making crap? Yeah. Like, that's still a question in the air. I mean, just with Star Wars speaking, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, it's like the trailer for, what do you call it, the creator. If you take a Star Wars movie that really sucks and you make a killer trailer, you got a fan base that's going to come watch it at least, and then they're going to be pissed. But, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a harder sell, though.
Yeah. So I'm thinking them trying to sell an original IP, which is what this is. You're trying to make comparisons to things. You're like, oh, this is going to be sort of like Blade Runner in this little area, or this could be like Apocalypse Now. And these are things I actually am like seeing within this film. So I'm not making arbitrary I'm not getting on my ass and just saying shit.
Yeah, writers still going to pull from things.
Yeah. So like, you're trying to get these investors to sort of be like, oh yeah, that movie made money. Oh yeah, that was a really cool movie that I liked. Yeah, man, let's do this. And that's what I thought was really cool about this film, is like, just whether you don't like the story at all, I think the world that they created,
the world was incredible,
was amazing. And it's definitely the highlight of the film. Like, they did what Star Wars did best, is they show you a future, but they show you a future that's lived in.
Yeah.
Like, everything is dirty. Nothing's really pristine. Even the like facilities that you are shown in this film, they're not pristine. Like, there's dirt, there's grease, there's dust, there's rust.
There's rust.
It's a well-established, built-in, grounded world. Even the weapons that they use, they don't look practical whatsoever, but I see these people manipulating them, and I'm buying it. Yeah. Like, I don't see any optics on these things whatsoever, whether it's iron sights, red dots, anything. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
And yet I'm still believing it. And like, there's one bit where someone's doing a round count on their magazine and then reinserting it into the weapon. And I'm like, where's the iron sight on this thing? Like, is this thing actually, because it looks like it's shooting 9mm, but like, when it's at like, are these weapons also like mini rail guns? Because it's doing a hell of a lot of damage to these machines and to people.
Yeah. And what I got from that, for the weapons sides and stuff like that, is I figure if, as much as some of the people are like the Washington character, he's pretty augmented. And I figured that it's just playing off. And see, I overlooked that whole part, because in the world I was living in for that, I was like, maybe these people already have optics in their eyes, It never shows it.
Yeah.
And also maybe the guns themselves have some kind of technology where they're going to ray trace in a way. Like, I need to shoot in this direction. It's already saying it's going to try to be as accurate going in that direction as possible. Like, I mean, a futuristic.
It could be, but like, you would also probably see some sort of optic in the eye.
Yeah. I didn't even, that even makes it for me even more.
Yeah.
So you gave me one more reason to hate the movie.
Yay.
He did it.
But okay, so let's start going through
with the plot.
No, let's actually go through the cast.
Okay.
We're going to do it differently this time. Let's go through the cast. All right, so the film stars John David Washington. This is Denzel Washington's kid, the prodigy of the GOAT.
That's right.
As Sergeant Joshua Taylor, a military sergeant and undercover operative for the U.S. Army. He has an artificial right arm and leg due to injuries he suffered during the nuclear explosion in L.A., along with losing his parents and brother. So, what was your perspective on his
character?
On his character and how he did the part. Well, maybe not so much how he did the part, but like just on this character.
I could be wrong, but I figured this was a payday for him. And I don't think he needs it. But I mean, like he was in Ballers too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. I figure he's like one of these people like his father. He's like, he reads these scripts. So he must have really liked it is what I'm thinking. Either he really liked it or the money was just so stupid, ridiculous. Because, I mean, I've seen some of the characters he plays and I'm like, I don't know why he would play a character like this. But his character
because
overall,
it takes him in a different direction.
I mean, definitely. Say. Yeah. I mean, any actor wants to be challenged. And maybe that was it. It was, this is going to challenge me from playing more of an athletic or, baller type kind of character and takes him into, let me jump into a different world I'm not even comfortable with. Yeah. His character, man, and this is why I hated his character overall. It's like, I figured at very first when I found out the girl's pregnant, I thought somehow, some way, she's going to survive. You kind of know because she's one of the main cast anyway. And I figured the kid, when you first see this kid, I'm like, okay, she's been gone X amount of years. This is going to be his kid. And it's not the case. It's was it like a graft version of the child in a way?
Well, technically, it is his child.
It is, yeah, because it was. I think her child died in the womb, but it was
they digitally
stem cells or something.
And they digitally imprinted it onto this I guess exoskeleton. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah, and it's going to grow and all this stuff. And
yeah,
and I like that aspect of it. That all these other AI creature, robots, they're all adults. But we're first seeing now the first child, and it's this whole new evolution of kind of.
Yeah.
I got like, I guess Cylon vibes from that, because they're the 13th colony in a way. Yeah.
I got from his from his character, it's a complicated character.
He's very, and I think that's what I hated about it. He's too many layers.
I like the character. There's something about his performance that's kind of slightly off for me, but at the same time, I think he did good in it.
He did great.
The character itself, it's kind of hard to watch because you're sort of rooting for him, but you're also sort of not because you kind of.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, that's the main emotion I'm feeling from this guy. I feel bad for him. Like. He loses his kid, and then he has a whole character arc though, because he goes from, honestly, lack of a better term, racist against machines.
Yeah,
these things aren't real. Like even when he destroys that one in front of the weapon or what we call Alfie, to like not scare this child. Or not scare Alfie. He goes, "Oh, I didn't kill it. It's not dead. It's off. I turned it off." And then there's a key thing that like, there's a scene where they are in a bus and they're going to the capital in China or Japan or something, and they're talking about life and death. And this is also one of the moments where his character starts to turn. Is Alfie asks him, where are your creators? And he says, well, they're in heaven. And he goes, oh, well, you go to heaven too? And he says, no, I'm not a good person. I don't get to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And then what Alfie says next, I think that's what starts to change his opinion on Alfie. It's, oh, well, I guess we're the same. Because I can't go to heaven either.
Yeah.
You're a bad person, and I'm not a person.
Yeah.
And that's when he starts to to change his mind.
Yeah, and I think it's the first time also he's seeing that this is a different life form.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like when he's killing those ones in the beginning, like not the beginning, but when he comes back from
after the 5 years when he's
he's with that girl, and he's like, you got to look at him as that's not real, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You definitely see this whole change in him, but I think he starts realizing that halfway through this film, before he even knows it, somehow, some way, this kid is somehow related to him. He almost feels it from time to time. He's got a natural. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I've only seen it once, but it seems like I fell asleep. But it seems like he has a protecting when they get to that village, when he's fighting. We know when the soldiers come in the first time.
Yeah,
he's got a natural of I need to protect this kid, even though he doesn't almost know why.
That's
the mission is to bring it back.
Well, at that point, Ken Watanabe, he plays the character. Harun. Harun's already told him, like, this is technically your kid.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about right when the kid escapes the pod or that research
the facility.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he ends up in the house, and then that one AI is like, oh my God.
Agent, yeah.
Yeah. And then one guy gets shot and he's dying.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, he's not wanting to give the kid up quite yet, right?
Yeah, but it's not because he thinks it's his kid.
Yeah,
because that what you're talking about right now happens before the bus.
Yeah.
So at that point he's looking at that kid solely as an asset.
Yeah,
this is the thing. His mission isn't to destroy the weapon, destroy the creator.
Yeah,
it's to find the love of his life.
Yeah,
that's what that kid is for, and he's going to do that.
Yeah,
and that's why he, like, for lack of a better term, goes off the reservation.
Yeah,
it's because that's what he's looking for.
I guess that's his plot. My mission is to find her. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's his mission. And then, but yeah, to go back to my point about him having a full character arc, we see things happening, and he starts to slowly care about this kid, like that scene where Harun tells him, no, this actually kind of is your child because she imprinted your unborn child onto this exoskeleton.
Yeah.
So this is your kid.
Yeah.
And then he starts to see Alfie more as his kid.
Yeah.
And well, this is also the cool thing too, because in the very end, and I'm getting kind of ahead of myself here, he finally gets to go to heaven because he's finally, his perspective has shifted. He doesn't see in white and black anymore. He's seeing in gray. He's seeing how, yes, they are two different species, AI, machines, and humans, and how they can also, like, cohabitat with each other, because they don't, like, spoiler alert, he does find his wife, and she's on an iron lung, for lack of a better term, and she's been on it for 5 years. And he even asks the robotic Buddhist priest, like, why isn't she dead? And they go, well, essentially, it's in our programming. We can't harm her.
Our creator. Yeah,
we can't harm our creator.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that say to me? It says to me that, like, yes, they're having a war, but they actually don't want to fight the humans. Like we said in the beginning of this episode, the war started because of human error. It did not start on part of the robots.
And that's the little plot twist I love, especially when Ken Wanabe's character I think he's the one that tells him. He says it wasn't even our fault.
He does tell them,
yeah. And I love also that, like, when that one pops out of the car from LA.
They're in
and it's all worried about
blast zone.
Yeah, those people are dead, and it's worried so much about them being dead. Not dead, he's trying to find them. That one's all confused, trying to find them until he powers it off. Or I think he cuts the cord.
He cuts the power cable or something.
Yeah. But that's one of the things, just like, I was like, okay, so that's kind of interesting that, and it plays also off the AI that, for years and years, they was kind of like babysitters in a way. They did that shit that we probably didn't want to do. They would drive.
They did all the shit,
and they cared about people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's. And then also the fact that they couldn't even kill their creator, it just shows that it was even in their programming originally, they wouldn't hurt humans.
Mm-hmm.
They had to adapt to protect themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, no, he had a very interesting character arc. He had some moments where he shined with comedy.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a good job. Now, I think we're about to get to the star of the show. Madeleine Yuna Voyles plays Alpha O, or Alfie, a robotic AI simulant with the ability to remotely control technology. Now, what's really cool is John David Washington's character, Sergeant Taylor, is sort of a Deckard from Blade Runner type of character, right? He's cynical about the world until he starts peeling back its layers and he sees how complex it is, and he starts to sympathize with the robots. Now, with Madeleine's Alpha O, or Alfie character, she's Jesus.
In a way, yeah.
She is the savior character.
Yeah.
And she does this brilliant thing of like combining childlike innocence with a curiosity about the world. And it's believable.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking?
Innocent too. She's very innocent.
Yeah. Like there's that one moment where it's just like, what would you like? Oh, I would like for all robots to be free.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't think we can do that right now, but would you like ice cream? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Like that was just so adorable.
Yeah.
And her smile is just so infectious.
It is. I like the character in that one. Again, I think I was more confused by this whole world. The world was beautiful, but sometimes I think it's one of those films like you're saying the truth. I probably need to watch it again to probably understand it. It's one of
it's a complex movie to watch. You gotta
first
watch
time,
it a couple times.
And I always say like in a few of the episodes we've talked about, it's like you start seeing things different the second time, third time. This is probably one of the ones that it is so complex. Yeah, you need to watch it a few times because then you know. Now I know from start to finish what's going to happen. Then I can start seeing the plots, and develop the story. It's better.
Interesting too. Like we'll come back to the characters, but I have this screenshot of. Oh, I think I just lost it.
No.
No. That's right. I screenshotted it.
You screenshotted it.
Thank God I screenshotted this.
How do you lose a screenshot?
I know, right? So we're looking at, what I'm looking at is a 5-act structure. Now, most films don't have 5 acts. They have 3 acts, but this one has 5. The first act is the exposition or the cold open. It shows you the world. And then, so what that is in this film, in the very beginning, we see the archival footage that you're talking about. And then we go straight to the Sergeant Taylor character in the cabin, and they're happy couple, happy moments. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden, you see the U.S. Army coming in because a few moments earlier, they stated that essentially they're going to war with robots over the detonation of the bomb, and it doesn't matter what country that they are living in.
They're coming to
they're coming to kill them, and they have decided. The machines have decided to harbor in what is called New Asia. So China, Philippines, Japan. So just think Asia proper, right? And so they're not going to war with Asia, but they're going to war with these robots. But it is essentially United States versus all of Asia.
Pretty much the world. If it was in Australia, they're like, hey, we're coming in.
But they have created this installation called the USS NORAD. And it's basically a space weapons platform that sends down, I would essentially say mini nukes. It is essentially a Death Star. So that's the background on what's going on. But so we're with Taylor, and then we're also with Gemma Chen's character. Her name is Maya, and she's pregnant, and they're talking about their child. And then we cut to a very beautiful blue light, what you were talking about last episode, scene. And all of a sudden we see Marines coming out of the water. And we also see the space NORAD using a space laser to laser targets on the ground. And then all of a sudden we start hearing gunfire going on because this island that they're on it's a rebel encampment with other robots.
Yeah.
And we start to realize that. And one of these Marine guys comes into the cabin, and then they subdue him. He's all messed up. And you realize that Taylor is actually like an undercover operative, and these people don't know it, and the love of his life doesn't know it. And then she finds out.
Yeah.
And then after that, she finds out. She almost shoots him, but decides not to because this is the love of her life. And her and the other robots get on boats, and they just drive off in the water. And all of a sudden, you see that lasing aperture target the boats, and it sends down a mini nuke, which is what I'm just going to call it, a mini nuke, and destroys them. For all Taylor knows, the love of his life is gone. And yes, he was doing a mission, but he actually fell in love, and that's what he really cares about, is his wife and his unborn child.
And almost at that point too, he really didn't give a shit. He was living around the AI, and it almost was like, I know a lot of people probably, if they're undercover, you get into that lifestyle. Yeah. And he was very comfortable with it,
He seemed like he was, yeah.
Very, yeah.
But that is the end of what we call the exposition, or Act 1. And what's really interesting and very artois, or no, is it artois?
I think it's artois.
Yeah. Of our film that we're talking about is Act 2 has a title. And the title is called The Creator, which is also this film. And I had a thought about this. The creator is Taylor.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a baby without seed.
You can't, yeah.
So he is the creator. So
I didn't never think about that, but
Act 2 is all about Taylor. And Act 2 happens 5 years later, this incident. The war is still happening. He's honorably discharged. And he's working in a hazmat kind of construction area, just depositing all the probably contaminated exoskeletons from the detonation, right? Yeah. And then the military comes back and is basically trying to get him to do this mission, to basically finish the mission that he started. And he's basically telling them, no, I only care about my wife and kid. I've done my bit for king and country. I'm out.
He don't want anything to do with it.
He wants nothing to do with it.
Then they hit him with that. Here she's still alive.
Yeah. And that's what he did. And it's not just he decides to go for that. He realizes something. He realizes, because he is still like them, he still thinks like them, they are going to non-discriminately take out everyone and everything in that area.
He's trying to protect her.
And he's trying to protect his wife and possibly his kid.
Yeah.
So that's why he goes on the mission. He just lets them think that he's still on their side. And he's not on their side. He's not on anyone's side.
He's on his side.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this is where you've been introduced to Allison Janney's character. She is Colonel Howell. And when you get into the dropship with him and then all these generic Marines, you find out what her motivation is. And it's very just like straightforward, which is the robots murdered her sons. And so that's her sole motivation, to take out all the AI because she lost her sons.
And if this one is a weapon, let's get rid of it, We got to take it back with us and probably research it, destroy.
Probably not even research. Well, probably research after we find out about the twist towards the end.
Yeah.
But that's what we see. Well, that's our introduction to Howell. And then they start doing the operation. They find the kid, and he's like, what is going on right here, right? But like that's what this act is about. It's about him, where he is now, how he is, and his relationship with what's about to happen with the world going on.
Yeah. And even like you said, to play off the truth of why he's in it for himself, that one guy told him, he said, when this thing opens up, don't do anything till I get back. Door starts opening. His main thing is, let me find out what this weapon is. I think he's thinking, if it's like a bomb or something, let me get my hands on it first. then I have a bargaining chip with the United States military this is now in my hands. We got to now make a bargain. My wife is safe.
Well, I was also thinking maybe his wife is in there. And I'm thinking that's what his thinking was.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
I
just thought he's like trying to get in there for bargaining chip.
Well, you also know that like she is a AI designer.
Yeah.
So in the most sensitive area of this facility, so it is conceivable to think that she would be there, the most restricted area.
Yeah.
And you find out that she's not, and it's in fact this child that is in fact his child. And that's the end of Act 2, and then we go to Act 3. And what's Act 3 entitled?
What is Act 3?
The Child.
The Child. Oh, don't they do title cards?
They do. Yeah, they do title cards this entire film. And so this act, it's about the child, but really it's about the child's relationship with Taylor, its creator, and it's seeing the world for the first time.
Because it's always been bunched up watching movies.
And TV. And then we get to the fourth act, and the fourth act is the friend. Now, the friend was the guy they subdued in the very beginning, and then you see now he has changed.
Yeah.
And that's another...
He fell in love with
the robot, but that's another plot point for Taylor's turn, is even his buddy, who he saved, who was his handler, he's changed. Yeah. He's not against robots now. And so now his world is opening up.
Yeah.
Everything's flipped for him now. And so he's with him. And then we get to the final act. The final act is called The Mother.
Yeah.
But what's really cool, though, is how we're going up this hill and then we start coming down. So Act 3 actually is, the climax happens there. And the climax actually is that battle on the bridge. Actually, no, my bad. The climax is actually the facility.
The facility?
Yeah, I believe so, if that's correct. Yeah. Well, it could be it has to be that because no. My bad. I'm getting confused here, guys.
Yeah, it's a confusing movie.
I know it's so confusing, but like it's a 5-act movie, which I thought was very interesting.
I did think that, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that till you said it. I was like, I forgot it had title cards.
Yeah.
Just watch it too.
Did you? I thought you fell asleep.
Well, I did fall asleep. Maybe I fell asleep at every title card.
Maybe you did.
I was like, oh no, there's title cards.
There's title cards? But okay, I'll get back to this plot section here.
Our main antagonist, we do know, is NORAD. That is what they are
actually, our main antagonist, I would say, is Hal.
Which one's Hal?
The Colonel.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the thing we have to kill from the very first that kills his wife, that is tracking them the whole time, making his life difficult, is NORAD. I didn't even think it was a space until the end. I thought this thing's
I thought it was very high up in the air, but no, it's definitely a space-based weapon. Yeah, but like that's sort of how the plot goes. Now, what we can start talking about, because I know we really want to talk about this. This is what we're really going to nerd out about this.
Oh,
which is the technical aspect of this movie.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start off. Well, what did you think about the cinematography? How they shot it, most importantly, what they shot it with, and then how they used their money to show the world in the way they did.
Well, I mean, me and you both talked about it before. The camera they used is I think it was the FX3, and it's like a super generic, very, prosumer camera. You wouldn't think that a film with this budget, you think it would have an Arri or a Red or a Panavision, but they've got this run of the mill that anybody can afford. Realistically, you could buy this at B&H and make payments. I think it's like $3,000. I mean, on the top end, and this thing performs perfectly, for this type of film. I'm not a Sony fan, but this camera did great for that. And I think it's also they used this because they knew they had a ton of VFX they had to get to, which blows my mind about how well that camera was able to hold
handle it,
all the information for this stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I kept thinking, I was like, when I first saw the articles of they used, a FX3, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna have a lot of trouble in post, and it seems they didn't have much trouble at all. They shot it right.
Well, I mean, I think they shot everything.
There's definitely budget.
This is what my research has told me. Is they shot everything that they could practically in camera, and then they just filled in the gaps afterwards. So basically, what I think they were saying is like, you know how you have like a little bit of buffer stuff if something screwed up. Well, with how they shot it, they had this much buffer if something screwed up.
Yeah,
so they could do it.
Yeah, they saved even. And I remember watching a documentary in the past about them on location. Like they had camera crews that was in I think it was Thailand and stuff, but it was definitely Asian. And they had interpreters for the Americans there because they was utilizing. I mean, what you usually do is if you're in the country, you try to utilize their workers.
Yeah.
And me and a friend of mine was talking about this. Because he was part of a film that filmed overseas, and he said, "You won't believe this, but these camera ops over there, I mean, like I think it's like $50 for a day is ridiculous, and like that'd be like us making $2,000 or something a day."
Yeah,
he was like, so they're paying these guys this, and you're getting the best of the best in that whole country, basically, that is coming out saying, "Oh my God, you're going to pay like 50 USD," And so they had the best of the best budget-saving opportunities, and then they had these budget-friendly cameras, and then you see what they could create with all this money they had stacked up, And I was like, damn, at $80 million, I mean, that's a lot of money, but they was, I think, making the cuts that they made, it made it where they could spend so much making that world fun. I mean, it looks like a $200 million film.
What I think really, like, what's the right way to put this? I think what's really interesting about the camera choice is also the lens choice.
Yeah.
And they went anamorphic.
They did. Yeah. And definitely you would do that for any, I think, I know, Blade Runner, the original, was anamorphic. I think the second one, 20.
Maybe.
I fell asleep.
He keeps falling asleep in movies, folks.
Yeah. Anamorphic, maybe. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe you're just allergic to anamorphic.
I'm allergic to anamorphic. I think they wanted that big wide aspect ratio and stuff. So,
well, I mean this movie is geared towards that because
it is. I mean, sci-fi in general.
Yeah, like to stick to the technical aspects of this, like even the location shooting, it gives you callbacks to like Apocalypse Now, Vietnam era films, and then when you get to the Capitol, you see, Blade Runner style callbacks.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, Star Wars, like NORAD is the Death Star. Like you see it with him. Like hell, even with the United States in this film, which kind of sucks, but I mean,
they plastered it all over the tanks and all too.
Yeah,
U.S. Army and all.
Yeah.
They want to make sure.
Well, the creators of this film is trying to like state something, and so they're using us as the bad guys. But like, even though we're a democracy, like we're kind of showed in an
ulterior.
Yes. No, that's not the word either. I can't. I'm trying to be smart. I can't say the damn word. Brandon, what's the word?
Alternative.
No, not alternative.
Well, what's the term? Like, what would you? What do you do?
Authoritarian. There we go.
Authoritarian.
There we go.
Authoritative.
I'm trying to use big words here, folks.
We're trying to be smart.
We're trying to be smart and
like
not sound like jackasses.
Me last time, bipartisan. We want to sound smart.
At least I knew what the word meant.
Authoritative.
I knew what the word meant. Yeah, but that's how they're showing us in that film.
Oh man, they showed us like we was horrible, man. I mean, and I get it though. I felt kind of vibes of cowboy Indians, in that way.
Yeah,
it's kind of we have these Indians, and they was not here. AI is not here before humans, but you had this this race almost that it's easier to just wipe them out instead of trying to,
That's true. I'm trying to get to this one part. So, okay, here we go. I took a camera and a 1970s anamorphic lens. We went to on location scouting in Vietnam, Cambodia, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, and Nepal. Our whole plan was just to go to the greatest locations in the world because the cost of a flight is less than the cost of building a set. We were going to hopscotch around the world and shoot this film, then layer in the science fiction on top afterwards. If our film is trying to achieve something visually, it's trying to feel real in terms of science fiction, and I think they did that.
Oh, they nailed that
in spades.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And honestly, I think that's how science fiction really should be made. Like all the great science fiction films,
iRobot,
are made like that.
Yeah.
Well, not iRobot.
I'm saying the book compared to.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about the book because Will Smith.
I love the film.
I like the film, but I mean. The sci-fi, it kind of played homage to the book in a way. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, a lot of people hated this movie also, so they're with you.
Oh, man, I feel loved right now.
I'm by myself over here. Yeah, so Garrett Edwards cited films such as Apocalypse Now, Bakara, Blade Runner, Akira.
Okay, Akira.
Rain Man, The Hit, E.T., and Paper Moon as sources of inspiration.
Okay, I didn't think,
and that makes sense because Alfie is sort of an Akira character.
And until you said it, I didn't even. I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Let's go to filming.
Let me ask you real quick. It's a little hot topic.
Okay,
and it's been on my mind. Okay,
all right.
Gemma, what's her last name?
Gemma Chan.
Gemma Chan. Did you ever watch Humans?
No.
Dude, I loved Humans. And she plays an android in Humans, Anita. And when I was watching it, I was like, I've seen that girl in something. But she's in a lot of things.
Yeah, I saw it in the Marvels.
See, I haven't.
Or no, not Marvels, Eternals.
Yeah, see, I looked that up and I was like, I haven't seen Eternals yet.
It's not that good.
I figured I've heard mixed reviews.
Spoiler alert, it's not that good.
Oh man, spoiler alert! I gotta still watch it, so now I know it's going into it. Not good.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. But I remember just one night I was flipping. This was like maybe 2-3 years ago. About 2 years ago. And I just came up on Humans. I was like, first poster, pretty girl, which is her. And I was like, okay, so she's, I think, let me look it up. I think her name's Mia in that too as well.
No, her character in this is Maya.
Maya.
Yeah.
Let me see. Because I know Anita was her name in that. But she had another name as well. Let me see what that is real quick. But I thought it was interesting when I got done watching. I was like, what is she in? And when I saw Humans, I was like, hold up, wait. She played the android before. And now she's doing a whole different. And it's kind of similar. They're trying to gain their freedoms as AI-based. It would blow my mind if somehow, some way it was written the same. Her character was Mia and Anita. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
So I was like, when I first, and it took me a minute when I first saw this, I was like, who is this girl? And then I realized, and I was like, okay, so I kind of like that she played the android, and now she's playing the human that's building the first of its kind, Alfie.
Which I thought was interesting for her because she's a great character. She's a great actress.
Yeah,
and it's kind of funny because she becomes the MacGuffin. In a way,
MacGuffin.
It's a film term where like it's the thing that you need to get to get the film. Like with Indiana Jones, the Holy Grail.
Okay.
Or no, in Indiana Jones, the Ark of the Covenant. That's the MacGuffin.
Okay. I've never heard the MacGuffin.
You never heard that before? Yeah.
Learn something new.
Yeah, it's a film term. You're welcome.
Oh, wow.
Lots of films have MacGuffins. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so let's get into the post-production visual effects stuff of it. One of the most significant elements in the fictional U.S. military space station, Nomad, my bad, not NORAD.
Yeah.
I do too, Nomad, which was noted for its distinctive visual design sound effects. Edwards believed it took in the entirety of the lockdowns caused by the pandemic to design it, describing it as a bird of prey and an all-seeing eye in the sky. Always looking at everybody, so we kept playing with those two shapes, merging them into the way that felt just right. The assembly cut of the film, the assembly cut of the film ran 5 hours. They did not use any temp tracks for the music. just the sound design, which Edwards likened to that of the talkies during the 1920s. Because of this, it was decided that no music be added to the film throughout the entire editing process in order to get the pacing and story structure right in an effective manner. Edwards called the experience super interesting. Quote, "Part of me thinks I would do that again because it put a lot of pressure on the sound design, and then you're not hiding behind music to save the storytelling." Now, when we get to music, this film had a banger of a soundtrack. And I'm not just talking about the music that's done by the amazing Hans Zimmer. He did an amazing job.
I didn't know.
But they had actual songs in there too. And I'm trying to see where they're at.
One was on the record, wasn't it, when the kid was playing it?
Yes, here we go. Additional music. Here we go. Okay, so other songs featured in the film: "Fly Me to the Moon," performed by Astrid Gilberto; "Ever Good," performed by Burl Allswanger; "Pan de Azucore" is a very popular song. I don't know how to say it. Clara de Lune; Lynn Sinker; "Everything in Its Right Place" by Radiohead. Now, this song was played when they're doing the insertion into the facility, and I thought it was an amazing song to set that sequence to. And honestly, it's to set the entire film to, because that song kind of just sets an entire vibe, even for the rest of the film. That kind of just, for me at least, just stays there.
Yeah. Are you a Radiohead fan? Are you a Radiohead fan?
Of that song, I am.
Okay.
"Child in Time" by Deep Purple; "Flight of the Rat" by Deep Purple; there's "Hold Your Head Up" by performed by the Bats. There's a lot of really good, just actual traditional songs.
Soundtrack.
Yeah. Besides the Hans Zimmer score, which was amazing.
See, until you said it, I didn't even realize he did the score on that.
Oh yeah, and it's fantastic, man.
Hans Zimmer.
We can go back to the characters if you want. Well, you know what? What are your thoughts on this film so far? Like, looking back on it.
Definitely gonna watch it again. I think I'll see a different perspective. I think the thing that always just bothered me is like every time. There's one thing I did love. I'm a firm believer, and this is like just for me. I think like in certain aspects, him being the hero, I'm glad he died in the end with her. I hate that. I don't like the super. Oh my God, it's the love finds a way, and he didn't get her in the end. He got a when the kid gave all the memories. Yeah, he got a different version of her, and I thought that was sweet in a way. But also like that his character did ultimately make the ultimate sacrifice in order to save the daughter that he had. And it's just one that I kept thinking, like, as the movie was progressing, I kept thinking, oh man, I bet you something in the end is going to happen, and he's going to be even more maimed or something, like another leg or something. Yeah. But he stayed, and he got a little bit of happiness in a way at that moment. But that's one of the kind of things I really took away from it. I really liked. And the thing I hate is like every time they're almost getting ready to get away or something's going to happen. I wish they would have said somewhere, somehow, when we got you back on board, when we was going to go with like a briefing, we put a tracker in you, because there is no way in hell, I think, over this whole world, they could keep tracking this man. He always ended up in the worst places at the worst time.
I will say this, as thought-provoking as this film is, like, it's also like, it's sort of a miss too, because there's a lot of tropes that are reused. There's a lot of plot holes in this film also. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Like, exactly to your point, how are they tracking this person?
He can't get away. Yeah.
Even when they get back to LA, and they're, talking to Taylor, being like, hey, this is the EMP gun device. He won't let us shut him down. Oh yeah, that's another thing that we haven't even talked about. Why this kid is a weapon is because this kid can control all electronics. And as this kid grows, its power also grows. And that's a plot point that we find out in the act 4 with the friend. Mm-hmm. Because he owns a assembly line company in the capital in New Asia, and you discovered this. Mm-hmm. So they can't use the EMP gun on this thing because it just won't let them, but it might if it's the Sergeant Taylor character. Yeah. And so, and this is the plot point though, it's because when first of all, they would let that happen because that has to happen. Mm-hmm. And when he goes up to Alfie and he puts the gun up to him because the EMP thing is still sort of like, I guess, putting off something so it scrambles the audio. Yeah. And he says, stand by, and then he pulls the trigger and it kind of works on the thing. But then you find out 30 seconds later it was all just a ploy. Mm-hmm. This is the plot hole, is after that, the general has no reason to do that because the general does not care. You were an asset for me to complete a mission, and that is my mission complete. Mm. No. At no point does this general seem like he actually cares about Taylor as a person. Yeah,
without a doubt. So
that's another plot hole right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of plot holes. That's what I was saying. Mm-hmm. One day, I mean, I might look it up and later on and see if there's got to be a director's cut. There's got to be something that ties.
I don't think there is.
God, then that means.
I mean, the article they had a 5-hour assembly cut.
Yeah, it could be that just a lot of stuff got cut on the floor.
Yeah,
I mean that's just the only thing. I mean they had a big budget, but I think they used a majority of that in post.
Oh yeah,
and I'm pretty sure it's just like anything else. It's it's like one of the things that I wish we had the budget to go talk to the real filmmakers right? And be like. Hey, and then you'd probably hear, oh, yeah, well, we shot a lot of stuff that would have made more sense, but, to make sense of it as we could, we had to chop all the shit up.
Now, one cool thing I do want to talk about now, and we kind of talked about it before, is the production design, mainly on the design of the robots and then on what's called the simulants. They were actually an evolution, so there's 2 different types of androids we're talking about here.
Okay, I didn't know that.
What were your thoughts on them?
What was the different? The ones that's got the hole through their whole head is
those are the simulants.
Okay, and what's the other ones?
Just the regular robots.
Oh, the regular robots. Okay, like the police.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love the police ones. They were just
I like the
comedic in a way.
I like the design of the simulants actually.
Mm-hmm. I like the design of this. I'm just saying it's just the police ones when they throws a grenade back over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, there's some funny parts. I guess also that shows that. The simulants is also at the edge of their creation in a way. Mm-hmm. We wanted to make them more like us.
Yeah.
What is it? Even the billboard that was talking.
Yeah, like you can pay
preserve
to use
your face. Yeah,
your likeness. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. I like the robots over the simulants, and I guess because I like older school stuff, like like I said, iRobot and stuff. I like the robots. Well, I mean that robot even looked more animated.
Yeah,
but like I don't know Macross and stuff like that. But what was your thoughts on it? I mean, it was beautifully designed.
On the design you're asking me about?
No, the robots versus the simulants.
I like the simulants more actually. Yeah. I like the design of them. They are a little bit more human. They're a little bit more smarter. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really interesting how you would look inside the CPU of these things is you would just take a little needle and it's sort of like a record player thing. Mm-hmm. You're just putting a needle next to the spinning thing and like with your little display, you're seeing all the data.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of
that was interesting.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. You notice the Ken Watanabe character near the end, he's there again fighting, and his other one died. Right. So there's a few of them. When everything's crashing down.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, I was like,
no, that's the same one.
Is it the same one?
It's the same one.
Okay, I figured that was just...
He was damaged, but he didn't die.
Oh, okay. I thought that he died.
No, he was just damaged.
I got you. And that's one of the things, like, for me, in that aspect, I was like, okay, maybe they made a few of him. Mm-hmm. Like, they made, maybe he was like a more highline profile one that they created a lot of.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe... But now it makes more sense that he just didn't die. Because it seemed like he knew more. And I kept thinking, how did they do that? Did they upload it because they had the chip? You had to do otherwise.
And there was another thought I just had with the Colonel Howell character. She comes not to a full arc, but like she dies because she doesn't change her mindset. She's so dead set on this that she didn't even
notice that thing was on her back.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, is she had this very Captain Ahab sort of archetype where she's so fixated on this that she can't change her mind. And it's the thing that kills her.
Yeah, it is
her mission. So that was another cool little thought I had. We're now on to our favorite segment.
Oh my God.
If this was your movie to make, what would you do?
What would I do? Oh, the whole thing different.
All right.
I mean, if
I know you're not gonna be able to like really go into depth on this because
I'll keep it
you
as
fell asleep.
Yeah, I'll keep it like if it was you had to stick with the story script and stuff like that. Like,
okay.
I would have. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's a sci-fi movie. I think it did great as a sci-fi movie, being the aspects and the world I wouldn't change. That was just really pretty stuff. I really did hate that they made like the Americans so bad. I think they should have made it a world league, like a European Union or something like that. Like I just hated that, America's coming over to in a way invade China. So the first thing I would do is a world government. There's a explosion in LA, therefore all of our allies, even our enemies maybe, is sitting there going, okay, there is a central weapon and problem, which is AI. So as a world, and maybe certain parts like in Asia and stuff, because I mean, if you even look at today, China, they produce still a lot of technology. So maybe they're safe, and I would have probably played it off a little different. A whole world unified government instead of making America the bad guy. I think it would have made more sense to me for that. China, definitely defending them because they see them as people, definitely play off that angle. I wouldn't have had the kid. Hate to say it, as much as I love the kid. I would have had maybe like a Star Wars kind of theme in a way. Clone Wars in a way.
How so?
And I haven't seen Clone Wars that much, but a whole, like the Jedi's, Order 6, was it 66? Was it Order 66?
So you would have massacred some people?
No, the Order 66, we got to get, the Jedi's would be, in a way, the AI. We got to get rid of them. We're going to hunt them down one by one. I wouldn't have, there's a single one at the big, that's going to be a whole unique. I think I would have made it, if I would have did it, I would have made it a miniseries, 4 episodes, and it'd be a war of AI versus humans. And then at the, still keep, certain aspects of the LA thing. There's no way it was a human error, play off that these this creation really is technically, it wouldn't mess up something like that. Human error is what we do,
Yeah.
We code something wrong. I don't think a computer would code it wrong, especially if it's that smart. So play off that aspect. The Washington character, he switches sides. Maybe I definitely keep the love interest. I would have definitely kept, because I mean she's an amazing actress anyway. But she's creating a new, the AI is kind of like the Terminators. They're becoming Skynet in a way. They're not bad. I'm not gonna play off they're bad. I still like that they're like the show Humans. They're trying to make their freedom where they're, and like I said before, like a Cylon, the 13th colony. They just want freedoms. They can't procreate. I wouldn't have thought of anything other than that. They can't procreate. They just want to be left alone and live in peace. And then we've got this central problem that this nuclear thing went off, and us as people, we can't take blame for that. We're going to make it the AI to blame. And then I guess I would resolve it. I mean, if it was me, I'd resolve it still. The hero has to die. I think that's in any, in Troy and all these, I think that the big hero always has to be sacrificed for the bigger cause. I would have done a miniseries, a warlike miniseries. You've got the AI wanting freedom, and you've got the people not understanding, and still there. You've got these, the Mia character, and you've got the Washington character. What's his name? Taylor.
Yeah,
Taylor. You've got the Taylor character. He's starting to swap. The Mia character is definitely, she's living in that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. His love for her, he starts changing his mind. Because I love the beginning of the film, actually, where he's sitting there soaking it up. He's hanging out with these guys. These are the creatures he'd be drinking beer with and stuff. He didn't look at them, I think, any other way than maybe he was so deep undercover he fell in love with that kind of world in a way, and then her being taken away, it ripped him. But how would you do it differently?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Yeah. I'm not really sure. It's such a complex movie. I would keep the cinematography. I would keep the set locations. I would keep how they shot it. Mm-hmm. Story-wise,
did you keep it the same or did you swap it?
I don't know. The thing about it is I like the character progressions of it. Mm-hmm. I like that there is a savior character and there is a character who is world weary. Mm-hmm. I don't think he wants to die. He wants to find the love of his life.
Yeah.
I like that. I just think there has to be a way to make it flow more.
Yeah. I think that was the
problem. It was very choppy. There was a lot of pacing problems with it, especially with my speech patterns right now. I'm just trying to actively think what I would do.
So and that's a hard one to think about too.
Yeah. So I think I would clean that up. I also like another idea of it being a human terrorist doing something like that, and he is controlling a army of these robots and simulants, and maybe the simulants also think the same as he does. They kind of just want the world to burn, or the U.S. government or UN government or whatever, the governing body. They did something that they absolutely hate, and they want to get their revenge, and they want to see them burn. Mm-hmm. And then you might have the Taylor character, and this is the thing is they might have a mixed unit. And what I mean by that is humans, robots, and simulants, and maybe the simulants and robots on the government side, they don't want to hurt the robots that are on the terrorist side.
Yeah.
And so maybe you have that going on, and you have that ambiguity going on, and that moral question, that moral problem. You don't want to fight your own kind. You're programmed to not hurt them, but they're also programmed to not hurt you, but they've also, I guess, been rewired. So where does that draw the line when it comes to violence and self-preservation and creating freedom for people, not letting other people, abuse that and take it for their whims. So maybe something like that.
I like that. You made me think if I did redo it, one thing I would do is there's a central bad guy, and I think it needs to be the general. If I was to redo it, and I was listening to you talking, I was like, and it just started hitting my brain. I was like, okay, he's talking about robots and the simulants, and then they care about the terrorists. And I was like, that'd be a perfect little plot. The general could have been the guy that he knows that these robots are taken away, work for humans. Because you could buy an AI simulant, and it can work forever for the family for 20 generations, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking if I would have swapped things around, the general set the bomb off to create where people would go, we don't need these things anymore. Get them the hell out of here. and we can kill them even though they have feelings. You know, you can see like throughout the movie they have some kind of feelings for these people.
Yeah.
The one that, you know, is all worried about the people in the car. So that's, I was sitting there thinking when you was talking, I was like, that would be interesting if you did it that way too. Yeah.
And it's still all about well, it's not really about the creator anymore. You have to call it something else. But it's an interesting world that they created. And I mean, hell, you could even do a sequel to this story and make it more streamlined, more structured.
Do you think, let me ask you something, and it's been kind of, since I first, and it's one thing I wanted to talk about and just get your take on it. I don't think they ever wanted to make it known. It was like an unknown for the viewer to decide. Do you think Alfie they was making to be able to procreate later on? Because you do know it went from baby to child, and it's got to go from child to teenager. Do you think, because it's one thing when I watched it, I was like, are they going to try to, at the end of this thing, show 20 years has advanced? Because I thought the very last thing we'd see is Alfie as a teen or an adult. And then wonder, leave it hanging, can the AI simulant versions, can they now almost procreate and create a dying race? Because it would show Alfie is got a lifeline instead of being able to be hardwired as a machine.
I would say if you were to do a sequel, and this is going to answer your question and the sequel thing, I would say no. She cannot.
Okay.
I would say since she is imprinted from Maya, and Maya is an AI designer, she probably has the skill and ability to design.
Yeah.
So I would say if they do a sequel and what her purpose in life is to create and establish and keep going their freedom. And then once they've created their own government or however they're going to cohabitat with humans, she will begin the process of designing the next generation that can do that.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what I think. Because she is now, and that's another thing that I didn't say, is the title of the film is The Creator. The second act is titled The Creator because it's about Taylor.
Yeah.
The final act is titled The Mother because it's sort of about the mother.
Yeah.
And it's more about the mother's relationship, like the mother's relationship to these two beings and who the mother is to them individually and what the mother did for them to make their choices.
Yeah.
And then I say after Taylor has died, made the ultimate sacrifice, along with the mother again, because she's now in an AI body, you're left with Alfie. Just popped out of a escape pod, sees her people celebrating their freedom.
Yeah.
And the camera stays on her and she's smiling. She's happy about her people. And I would say she is now become the creator.
Yeah, I can see that. It goes from a father to a mother to the child. Yeah.
Because she will be the creator of their future.
Yeah. And I never thought about that. And it did end like that too, the smiling.
So I would see it like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go on to the next segment.
The
next segment is, well, I think I already know the answer to this. What would you rate it?
What would I rate it?
I think I know.
I'm definitely going to watch it again. If it was in theaters, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And when we talked before we was recording, I kept saying, if it came to theaters, maybe it would be worth it. And I've been thinking, would I pay money to be probably disappointed again? And I was like, no, I would not pay money to be disappointed again. I'll probably give it streaming another go just to see if it makes more sense to me. I think it's just one of those films is just, I think they was trying to come up with a very niche target, a very, something that's going to draw people to think about something that's big right now, which is AI.
Yeah.
And I think it's just probably 10 years too early for this kind of film. I think 10 years from now, if they did, I think they would have more ideas to go with. And definitely they'll have more technology to be able to save money to make it how they want it. I just feel like there's chops, like we keep talking about, that didn't end up. And that's why I say no.
We're talking about the film industry right now. So in 10 years, hopefully, because right now we are seeing a trend towards more original thinking. IP films are actually failing.
They are.
They have been failing for a couple of years now. People are sort of tired of it.
People, the indies are...
The indies are coming back now. You're seeing the A24s Neons doing amazing work. They're getting great theatrical runs going. So maybe in the future we can get more movies like The Creator. Yeah.
And definitely, I think it's just one of those things. I think it's trying to be built for its time.
Yeah, and more importantly, the audience will be wanting it.
Oh yeah,
because I think this goes to your point, which is arguably okay movie to maybe good movie.
Yeah.
Great world. Watching. Great. There's the building blocks of the movie work. It's just when you put it together for whatever reason, it doesn't work. And I would say it's also because the audience just isn't ready for it yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talked about before, like Ben Affleck. Would you put, Roughnecks in space?
Yeah, with Armageddon.
And it's one of those things. I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking back. I'm going, man, can I beat this one to death? Or think of it as a movie. I'm like, I'll beat the damn thing to death, but it's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's not supposed to make sense.
Yeah, I get that.
How do you rate it though?
I would concur. I would concur. I did not enjoy it in the movie theater. I thought I wasted my money. But upon rewatching it on streaming, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And that's one thing. Like you said, you didn't lose anything but time watching it a second time. The first time you lost money. Yeah. And time.
Well, time is arguably more important.
It is very more important.
Because you don't get that back, but you do get money back.
You can. You can always make more money. All
right. So now we're going to go on to the segment of What's Next? Ooh, I like that. You owe me a Coke, but you already drank it.
I already drank it.
Damn it.
I've been thinking, man. I gave a list last time.
Well, okay. Do you want to go? Is it my turn now to pick?
Yeah, it's your turn.
My turn? Okay.
Because, I picked the worst of all, Creator. Come on now.
Hey, you're part of this podcast too, bud.
Oh, my God. And I picked the best of the worst so far.
Let's see. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you want to stick on the sci-fi trend? You want to do another Western? You want to do a drama?
Man, I'm game for whatever. What's been, if you was thinking right now on your watch list, and I know you've got a watch list like me, is there, when me and you was talking before, you was like, Prey. I was like, I've been wanting to watch Prey forever. Is there something you have wanted to watch, and you're like, I don't have time, and this is the perfect time to be like, hey, this is what we do. So.
Do you want to do a Nolan film?
That'd be interesting, yeah.
You want to do Inception?
We could do Inception. I love Inception.
Inception would be cool.
Did you like Tenet? I hated Tenet. Which, he's in that too, isn't he? Oh my God.
Yeah, John David Washington's in
Man.
That. So there's a new movie out on Netflix. It's by the Russo brothers. It stars Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. It's called The Electric State, I believe. And I think we should do that one.
The Electric State.
Let me make sure that's what it's called, because I'm going to fact check myself.
I think you're right.
The what?
Yeah, you're right.
I am right? Yeah. Hey.
The Electric State.
I just got fact checked by our producer, Brandon, and I am correct.
He did.
Now he's going to double check.
He's got to double check it.
You know what? He's going to double check. I'm going to double check.
I'm not going to double check.
You're not going to double check?
I am confident that both of you are right.
I remember watching the...
I'm confident, without a doubt.
We're about to find out.
It's the electric.
It's the electric state, folks.
I didn't know Millie Bobby Brown's in it.
Yeah, she's in it. Yeah. I think it's set in the 90s, and it's also another movie about humans and robots. So we're doing a duology of humans and robots, I guess.
I hope I like this one.
Yeah, the Scream, just going off the cliff notes right now, it's by like I said, the Russo brothers. It's written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who also have written Russo brothers movies, Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So this is a great writer, director
Duo. Yeah.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's going to be very fun.
And
We
are out.